it down, so cross that out. And then at the bottom, below sifted cake flour, write in 1.5 ounces cocoa powder.
1.5?
Yeah, 1.5 ounces. 1.5 ounces. So it should say at the bottom, well, we're going to change the cake flour to 4.5 ounces. So scratch out 5 and do 4.5 ounces cake flour, 1.5 ounces cocoa powder. And then, down towards the bottom of the procedure, starting with fold flour into mixture, put a little caret after flour and put and cocoa. So it should read fold flour and cocoa into mixture in thirds. And it would be helpful, I'm going to do this in the demo, if you sift them together a few times first and then add it in thirds. I want to do that too, but flour and cocoa into the mixture in thirds. And then the last two things, bake at 325 instead of 350. So 325 for 45 minutes instead of 35. So the bottom should read 325 and 45 minutes, or 45 minutes. Let's go. Alright. So first off, we're going to add or cream the butter first and then add the sugar. And then go in with the yolks and the vanilla. So we've got butter going in first and creaming that. We're going to add some sugar to it. We also have some eggs, as in egg yolk here, and then a meringue or whites as a meringue going in later. Does that remind you of any mixing method we've gone over?
Yes.
Which one?
Sponge.
What's that?
Sponge?
No, sponge is part of it though. What else is part of this? What am I doing here? Creaming. So this is a combination creaming sponge. So we got creaming going on and eggs separated out. The yolks is part of the base. The vanilla still. And then the white is a meringue at the end. So this is a combination creaming sponge here. So make sure your ingredients are at room temp. It's going to make a difference in how well it creams, because we are basically making air cells with just the butter, right? When we add the sugar, it'll continue to make some air cells, and then we'll make air cells in the form of meringue. So we're making a bunch of air cells.
Trying to make it really big.
Exactly.
It's so fluffy. I'm gonna die. That's what I was thinking.
So make sure you do a lot of scraping, but make sure everything's room temp. So for the pan, we're using a 9-inch pan with parchment, no spray. I got my first amount, 5 ounces of sugar going in with the fat. I have 3 ounces here at the end for the meringue, so make sure you know that. There's 2 separate additions of sugar here. Slow down. So you're still going to do a lot of scraping even though the sugar's in there now. So the bowl and the paddle and the spatula. Clean everything off. I'll probably do this after the yolks are in, but I like to take the paddle off and use my fingers and kind of scrape everything off too. As long as your hands are clean, they're a pretty good tool for this kind of thing. Alright, so that was basically speed 5 for the creamy, and then adding the sugar. So now it's going to put down to stir. And my yolks a little bit at a time. I'm still trying to maintain the emulsion, so if you add your liquid, in this case yolks too quickly, it might break it. Let's go speed 2. So you want to mix everything in before you add any more yolks, so basically one at a time. And this is 7 yolks and then 7 whites. So try to keep your yolks intact so you can add them one at a time. If you happen to break them, that's fine, but it makes it easier to portion them into the bowl if they're still unbroken.
We're not paying attention to nonsense.
Oh yeah. So a little side note on the parchment, if you only need half sheet, then rip it in half or separate it, fold it and rip it in half, that large sheet. So otherwise you're using double what you need to line a pan. So if you only need half sheet, rip it in half, leave the other half on top of the oven. So a lot of scraping on this cake. Make sure you do it. The biggest cue that it's mixed correctly is that the color is nice and even. So you'll see the yolk and then the white butter basically above that. If you're not scraping it well enough, so make sure you do that. So we're also baking this at a lower temp for quite a long period of time, about 40-45 minutes. It's a relatively dense batter, and that's why we can get away with that longer baking time. But to balance it, we also turn it down by 25 degrees. Usually about 350 is we're going to bake, but this one, 325. On the meringue side, make sure your bowl is clean, your whisk is clean. And again, we're using the fresh whites on this one. You guys seen that video where somebody separates eggs using a plastic bottle? Have you seen it? Yeah. I haven't tried it, but I just want to do it in the shell. It's a lot quicker that way. But if you do a lot of eggs and separating them out, you can crack them into a bowl and just use your hands to scoop the yolks out. It's a time saver. If you have a dozen or more to do, I'd say, or 8 maybe 8 or more, separating eggs. Crack them all in a bowl, pull the yolks out by hand. As if they don't break. Huh?
Yes, I do it all the time.
Yeah. Some people use the, well, it's kind of a trick though. They use a empty plastic bottle. They'll put the cracked eggs in a bowl or a plate, and they'll kind of squish the bottle so there's air pressure. And put it over the yolk and suck the yolk up into the bottle. I don't know. You can squeeze it out into another bowl. I don't know. It's kind of cool stuff.
I like the straw.
You gotta make sure your yolk's gonna fit inside the opening of the bottle and not rupture. It looks cool, though. I wouldn't do that. Eye catching.
Somebody smelled this?
Somebody
What?
got some, yeah.
I don't know. It's really strong though. It hurts.
Is it him, really? Wow.
Take a shower. Yeah. I don't know, but it hurts my nose.
Alright, almost there. But I have my emulsion still, it's not broken, so everything's cool. It takes a long time. Exactly. But room temp ingredients will help it go a little bit faster, so remember you're doing that, or to do that. Tomorrow, yeah, I'm doing the Sacher Torte and the Sacher sponge. I'm gonna finish both of them tomorrow. So you'll see that happening. Two classic cakes. Has anybody had Sacher Torte or Sacher Torte?
Sacher Torte.
Anybody else? No. Sacher Torte. Huh?
I've had the Sacher. But I remember it's
Sacher.
Sacher.
Oh, Sacher.
Yeah.
Nice try.
I tried. Bad miserably.
That's right.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Where'd you have it?
Here.
Oh, here. Wow. Where'd you have it?
I had a culinary school that I went to before I went here.
Oh.
In Michigan.
What did they serve it with? Was it a plain dessert or just like somebody make it?
Well, he made it. He put it on a plate and selected the most class.
Oh, okay.
Really, not as sweet as I thought.
Yeah, well, traditionally it's not, but it is often served with some chantilly, cream chantilly, because it is kind of dry too, or can be. But I'll bring on this up because sometimes the classic cakes, even the Sacher Torte, I'll talk about that more tomorrow, but there are special things you have to do to make them a little more palatable. But they're still made a certain way because they're classics, so you can always change them, but be careful with the classic. If you label it as such on a menu, people will expect it to be presented a certain way and taste a certain way. So you can always change it, but just be aware that, you know, it's not quite the same as the classic, which isn't bad. But most people, if they see it on a menu, they're gonna want it a certain way. And how much memory does that thing have?
Woo! A lot more than mine. On my phone, please.
I can upload it onto the website.
Oh, nice.
It's usually me or Brittany.
Fancy camera, this is mine. Sorry. Can't keep that. My battery usually runs out by now. Or my memory.
I like it because it's waterproof up to 3 years.
I have one. Correct.
Wouldn't that reach in? Thank you.
Yeah, I stepped on it.
Well, that's smart.
I know, right?
I got it for my
It was
birthday.
under a blanket on the floor. I don't even know how it ended up there.
My sister sat on her DS, like the,
So vanilla just went in.
while it was
So we're
open.
about done with the wet ingredients. And we'll build the meringue here.
I'm stronger than I look.
which one of you still likes making cakes? No? It's a halfway arm raised. You still like it? Alright, good.
Yeah.
Alright.
Certain cakes.
It
maybe
takes some
not
more
so
patience
much.
sometimes than you may be ready for, but people will buy them from you. Don't forget that. Pay for these things.
Getting a date on tomorrow for the sign-up form. Need it home.
Blurp.
I get it.
Blurp.
Alright. Mixed in. Shoot. Alright.
Get this.
Do you have a favorite cake?
Cheesecake. When I was a kid, that's all I asked for is a cherry cheesecake for every birthday. I love this. I love cheesecake.
You had a beard then, right?
When I was a kid? Man, always the funny.
I just imagine you sprouted out of an egg with a beard.
Alright, we have them all. So again, it scrapes really well. Be careful how quickly you add your yolks and your vanilla. Keep your emulsion. So should I have my dry first or my meringue?
Dry.
How come?
Like the meringue.
Yeah. Alright.
That'll coat
You look worried.
the
What's that?
meringue.
Huh?
That'll coat the meringue in. The four little bubbles.
Yeah. Oh, even better answer.
Whatever the cheese says good.
Gosh, alright. So, get this started. So some yolk in my whites. Little pinch of salt going in. Then when it gets a soft peak, I'll start adding the sugar until it gets the firm peak. Back of the wrench. Third of that goes in. So get a little bit of foam. I know it says soft peak in the procedure, but this is a fair amount of sugar. If you add it too late in the process, you might not get it all in before the meringue is starting to break down because you got it over whipped. So just a little layer of foam on top that's running the sugar slowly. And that's every adjustment, or that's adjustment you have to make with every meringue. Make sure you know how much sugar up against the whites you've got. If you have a lot of sugar, you have to add sooner, or starting at it sooner than later. So by the time the meringue is ready, all the sugar's in. So always slowly. Good. Don't dump it all in at once. Then stop it, get that sugar off the sides of the bowl, down into the whites. Speed 5 on that. So technically you can do this addition of dry on the mixer, but I'm trying to cut this a little bit short, so I'm going to mix in this dry while the meringue is whipping. So if you wanted to keep this on the mixer with a paddle, that'd be fine. Amy, can you do me a favor and give me a whisk down there on the bottom of that half sheet there, please? One off of there. Thank you. Hands of dance. Woo! Scrape on that too. Yep, not yet. But that's okay, it needs more time. Let's try it. Your arm's gonna fall off on this one, Britt, so you know.
Challenge accepted.
Hold.
Be fun. I just like cakes. That's me.
Man, alright. So one of the trademarks of this cake, believe it or not, is it does have holes in it. So it's basically tunneling that you want to have in this case. I know it's really weird, but it's classic, so that's how they make it. There'll be larger holes than what you might expect or might want. Alright. Alright, so this base is really dense, right? Oh yeah. So what are we going to do with this? Well, we can't really afford to fold all this in at once. So what we'll do is a quarter of this, or 25% of it, we'll mix it in to loosen that base up a little bit. Like I said, it's really thick. Yeah, it's almost a third. A little too much. Oh well. So a little figure 8 in the bowl. Now it's going to destroy a lot of that foam on that 25% because it is so dense, but this stuff should be more intact going in later. Just a slow mix though, don't go crazy with it. Eventually they'll have to knock out the whisk here. Yeah! Alright. You can watch that video later. What was he yelling at? So there's 25%, a little bit looser, okay. And the rest goes in. So this Sacher sponge, I would suggest turning on the lower ovens because the deck is going to be at 350 for most everything else. So in order to bake this at a lower temp, turn on one of the lower ovens as soon as you can and label it. Get a thermometer on the inside so you know what the temp is on the inside of the oven. And then adjust if you have to the temperature knob on the outside. Slippery. So we're almost there, nice even color, but again, it's still pretty dense. One more time around, make sure my bowl's clean. Alright.
It's like a brownie mixture.
Yeah, actually that's a good way to put it. It kind of is for texture too, although it's not, it's kind of not dry, but it basically is a dry brownie. If you think about it, you'll see. What's that?
Like a fudgy brownie.
Like a who?
Fudgy brownie.
No, fudgy's got extra fat and sugar. This one's not. It's gonna be a dry side. The texture is similar. So this one I was just leveling just a tad because it is so thick, but just a little bit, not too much pressure. A little bit of that, and into the oven. Then 40-minute timer, just check it. Probably be 45 before it's done. Same thing as far as testing for donuts, use a skewer. Any questions on the soccer sponge? Eddie? Nothing? Alright. So next up is going to be the French buttercream.